What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again for another video today. Not a series review. Earlier today I mentioned I wanted to do a video on Boston and Florida and what happened there. So as you can see this madness behind me, we have a board that basically just talks about the 4 greatest teams, regular season teams in NHL history. Boston, as of right now, is number 1. Incredible season, records that are probably not going to be broken in my lifetime. 65, 12, and 5, 135 points. 2022-23 Boston Bruins are the greatest regular season team to ever play the game. Tampa Bay in 2018-19 went 62, 16, and 4, 128 points. Detroit in 1995-96 went 62, 13, and 7, 131 points. And of course the Montreal Canadiens of the 70s, 68 and 12, 132 points. That's 1976-77. Those are the 4 teams that have reached 60 wins. So those are the 4 teams I used. So here we have what under them. We have a bunch of numbers. So first we have the teams that they lost, each of them in the playoffs, because only one of these teams won the Stanley Cup, and that was Montreal back in 76-77. And that was also before when ties existed, so they could have been a lot better than that. But that's not important. Important thing is these 3 teams did not win the cup. This team did, making what I would say them as the greatest team in the history of the league. But we'll start with Boston's. So Boston played the Florida Panthers this season in the first round of the playoffs. 43-point differential. Florida was 43 points beneath them. Florida was 42, 32, and 8. 92 points. Got it on the second to last day of the season. And Boston loses to them in the Eastern Conference quarterfinal, and Boston outscores them actually 19-18. So they do score more goals than Florida. And they were also up 3-1 in the series, which means that they choked away the series lead. 2 of those games went to overtime. All 3 of those games, I believe, they had a lead. The scores of those games: Boston wins game 1 3-1. They lose game 2 6-3 at home. Then they go to Florida. They win 4-2 and 6-2. And then come back home to close out the series, but nope, they lose 4-3 in overtime off a horrible giveaway by Allmark in overtime. They go to Florida, lose 7-5 after having the lead, and they're down 2-0, take the lead 3-2, and then Florida ties it with a minute to go, and Carter Verhaeghe gets the winner in overtime. Perfect shot. And we're left here kind of, a lot of people are in disbelief. Me personally, no. I do not think this is as big of a choke as everyone says it is. Yes, Boston is the greatest team in regular season history. I don't think people understood how strange this season was for them. Everything went right this season for Boston. 65 wins of a team that's one of the older teams in the league. I'm not sure, I've been saying all season, I'm not sure how Boston is winning these games. This kind of just proved everything I've been saying all season. I thought they would be 6th in the division at the start of the year. I could see them making the playoffs, but I thought they were falling off and there were better teams that were going to jump ahead of them. Could be the beginning of the end for Boston right here. This could be that one. This could be like that Chicago team in 2016-17 where next thing you know, you just fall off a cliff. Let's go through the point totals for these guys in the series. Bertuzzi, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. Marchand, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. Hall, 5 goals, 3 assists, 8 points. Orlov, 0 goals, 8 assists, 8 points. DeBrusk, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. Zacha, 0 goals, 6 assists, 6 points. Pastrnak, 5 goals, no assists, 5 points. McAvoy, no goals, 5 assists, 5 points. Carlo, no goals, 4 assists, 4 points. Coyle, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. These are the important ones that played every single game. On the side here, we have guys that stuck out or had injuries. Foligno, 1 goal, 2 assists, and 3 points in 6 games. He did not play one of the games. Krejci in 4 games had 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. Good for Krejci. Bergeron, 1 goal, no assist, 1 point in 3 games. And he might be done. He's probably done after this season. And Krejci is a possibly too. Lindholm is the big one here. No points in 7 games. After a fantastic season from him, he looked awful in this series. Allmark, 3-3 with an .896 save percentage. Swayman, 0-1 with an .875. Swayman didn't play his best game. It wasn't on him that they lost. Ullmark, kind of on Game 5. It was his fault. But in reality, goaltending wasn't the issue because... Actually, I wouldn't say goaltending was the main issue here. They scored more goals than the other team. They could keep the puck out of their net more than Florida could. And they still lost. They still lost. That's the point. Now let's look at Tampa Bay Columbus. There was a 30-point differential between Tampa and Columbus. Columbus had 98 points. Tampa had 128. Columbus finished 47-31-4, and no one gave Columbus a chance in this series. I remember this. I was 14. Not even yet. When this year started, when this bracket came out, this year's bracket, and Florida was playing Boston, I honest to God thought Florida could beat Boston. Did I think it was likely? No. Did I think it was going to happen? No. But did I think it was possible? Absolutely. I absolutely thought it was possible. Florida had won the President's Trophy the year before. They were still a good team, and they were running in hot going into the playoffs. Columbus was similar. They were going in hot into the playoffs, and they went out. They got Duchesne at the deadline. They had Panarin, Bobrovsky. These were all these guys were leaving. This was the last year of their deals, and they weren't re-signing in Columbus. So it was all in for Columbus in this season. They finished 47-31-4 with 98 points, as we say, and they're down 3-0 in Game 1 against Tampa. I believe it was a shorthanded goal. I don't remember. It might have been Josh Anderson with the goal. That goal, or Nick Foligno. It was Nick Foligno with the goal. Funny enough, right here. That changed the entire complexion of the series. And they tied the game at 3 after the first, and when they were down 3-0, they get the fourth one. Seth Jones, now Blackhawk, gets the winner, and they didn't stop. They win 4-3 in Tampa in that Game 1. They win 5-1 in Tampa in that Game 2 in Tampa. They come home, they win 3-1 and 7-3. Humiliate them. Absolutely humiliate Tampa Bay. They outscored Tampa 19-8 in that series. And Columbus to that point had never won a playoff series in their history. And what a way to do it. If you're going to do it big, apparently. Now let's look at Tampa's lineup. Let's look at their points. Cernak leads the team in points. No goals, 3 assists, 3 points. Cirelli, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Sergachev, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Stamkos, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Kucherov in 3 games had 2 assists because he was suspended for one of the games. JT Miller was on the Lightning at this point. This is pre-100 point JT Miller. 0 goals, 2 assists, 2 points. Jan Ruda, former Blackhawk, 2 goals, 2 assists, 2 points. No goals, 2 assists, 2 points. Yanni Gourde, now of Seattle, 1 goal, no assist, 1 point. Killorn, 1 goal, no assist, 1 point. Palat, 1 goal, no assist, 1 point. Paquette, 1 goal, no assist, 1 point. Point, 1 goal, no assist, 1 point. Tyler Johnson, no goals, 1 assist, 1 point. Of your Chicago Blackhawks. Guys that stood out, Hedman had 0 points in the 2 games he played. He was hurt. Coburn, no goals, 1 point. No goals, 1 assist, 1 point in 2 games. Ryan Callahan, no points in 2 games. Girardi and McDonough, no points in 4 games. And of course, Callahan, Coburn, Girardi, this was near the end of all of their careers. Similar to Boston here with Foligno, Krejci, Bergeron. Yeah, that sort of thing. And of course, you have Vasilevsky, 0-4 with an .856 save percentage. And you all remember him walking up to receive the Vezina that year. And he did not crack one smile after all the jokes were going around, and everyone remembers that. And of course, they win back-to-back cups. Could this be a thing that Boston rallies behind this and wins cups next year? I'm not sure. If Bergeron and Krejci will leave, Foligno, I believe, has 1 more year on his deal. He's either done or it's 1 more year. And this team's got cap issues coming up. Bergeron, Krejci, and Foligno leaving would definitely help it. Orlov is a UFA. I believe Hathaway's a UFA. And it's going to be important to make sure that they could get their guys signed. Keep Bertuzzi if I'm Boston. Bertuzzi, you need to keep Bertuzzi. He's a guy that looked fantastic in the lineup. And I'd say Orlov did as well. They looked great. But going back to this. You compare this. Tampa could not get someone with more than 3 points, and that was one guy. Boston in 7 games, and Tampa in 4. You have 4 guys with over a point a game in the series. This isn't a choke. This is just Florida outplaying Boston. This isn't a choke at all, besides losing the 3-1 series lead. But those are 3 games that Florida played better. That's the thing. Tampa did not play better in these games. This was just Tampa not flipping the switch. They thought after they went up 3-0, they thought this is easy. They turned the switch off, and they didn't turn it back on until it was too late in Game 4 when they were already down. This right here was an utter collapse. This right here was a comeback. And it was a comeback for the ages for Florida. And I fully credit them. I don't credit this on Boston collapsing like many people credit Tampa for collapsing. Of course, Columbus then loses to Boston in the next round. We don't know what's going to happen to Florida yet. We know they're going to play Toronto. And, yeah. Now let's look at 1995-96. We got Detroit and Colorado. There's a difference with this one, which we'll get to. Detroit finishes 62-13-7, 131 points. It's a 27-point ratio to Colorado, who finishes 47-25-10, 104 points. The difference with this, Colorado was the second team in the West. 8th seed, number 2 team in the West. This is in the Western Conference Final. This isn't in the first round. Detroit loses in 6 games in the Western Conference Final, and at that point, it's 41 years since they won a Stanley Cup. Of course, they'd win back-to-back the next 2 years, but at this point, no one thinks they're going to win a cup now because they couldn't win with this team. You had the Russian 5, Yzerman is before Shanahan, Paul Coffey's there, Dino Ciccarelli, Mike Vernon and Osgood are in net. You got a lot of really good players in that team. And honestly, this was a Colorado team that was just as good. Sakic, Forsberg, Patrick Waugh, among others as well, Sandis Ozilic. Fantastic teams back then. But this is a number 2 seed that's 27 points down. That's how far Detroit was ahead of everyone, which is why it was so shocking when they lost. In the series, we got the scores. Colorado goes into Detroit. They win 3-2 in overtime and 3-0. Detroit goes to Colorado and wins 6-4, but loses 4-2. They come back home and they win 5-2. They're down 3-2 in the series, but Colorado finishes them up at home in 4-1. Colorado goes on to win the Stanley Cup that year. And ironically, all these teams are connected. Columbus wins here. They lose to Boston in the next round, who Boston goes to the final. They lose to St. Louis. And then who's the next Stanley Cup champion after St. Louis? You have Tampa, who does Tampa beat in 2021? Montreal. And, of course, who does Montreal trade to Colorado in 1996? Colorado. Who does Colorado play? Florida. Who Florida could have played if they didn't lose in the conference final? Detroit. It's all connected. A little just sidetrack there. But which of these do I think was the biggest choke? Not this one, because it's a 1v2 seed, and that could have happened against 2 of the greatest teams of the 90s. This was a much bigger choke in my eyes than this. People, I believe, are overreacting of what's going on here. If people saw the reading between the lines, you'd understand how was Boston doing this. People would have noticed that. But people kind of think got caught up with, they keep winning, so they must be good. They were good, don't get me wrong. I just think they humongously overachieved. 45, 50 wins possible. 65, there's a reason it's never been done before. There's a reason this team and all the 70s Canadians and the 80s Oilers and the 80s Islanders, the 90s Penguins, all those teams couldn't do it. I'd honestly say Seattle beating Colorado was more surprising. That's why I wrote this up on the board. Seattle beating Colorado last night, I think, was even more surprising than Boston, Florida, and it's not getting the attention it deserves. This is a team that's won the first playoff series who just beat the defending champions. First time that's ever happened in history. And I think people are overlooking it. So who do I think choked harder? Tampa Bay Columbus. Do I think Boston choked the series away? Yes. Do I think they just full-on collapsed? No. That's not what I think would happen. Tell me your thoughts down below. I think I've rested my case. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. We should have a series review up tonight. or tomorrow for Rangers and Devils, and then we have 2 previews should be coming up because the second round starts tomorrow. So yeah, we got more continuous videos pumping out because I'm a machine at this time of year. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.